Okay, so while I adore both Katie and Tom, I initially wasn't going to cover them because information on the pair is so limited. With that being said, I think I've finally managed to figure out how they might have died, as well as what their sins might have been. Before I get into it though, many of you watch my Hazbin videos regularly without subscribing, which is the worst sin of them all. To avoid your soul's eternal damnation, and to support the channel, please consider subscribing. This will make sure you're alerted to all my latest theories. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon for some awesome perks. Now, on with the video. Let's kick this off with everybody's favourite killjoy, Katie.
Oh, and who might that be?
Between the two news anchors, I think it's fair to say she's the most cut out for the job. This cold-hearted Karen thrives on ruining people's lives. And what better way to do so than airing people's dirty laundry live on TV? However, she wasn't always hell's hottest newscaster, and is noted in her official bio to have been a failed one, presumably while alive. I find this interesting, not only because it tells us how she got her current job, but also because it gives her a motive to sin. Was she involved in a scandal? Did she take revenge on the person who crushed her dreams? Let's find out. But in order to do so, we're gonna need some more clues. While we haven't been told much else about her, I believe her design is all we need. A sinner's demon form is based upon their life while alive, and while her clothes don't say much beyond what we already know, her species certainly does. She is a praying mantis demon. Mantises are ruthless insects, best known for devouring even their own species.
Kinky. Oh, not like that, pervert!
As a metaphor, this has a pretty obvious application in the world of news reporting. Journalists do indeed eat each other alive, in the sense of setting each other out for a hot scoop. As such, we could surmise that she was a journalist while alive, which fits perfectly with what we already know about her. Question is though, why did she fail as a newscaster when that job seems perfect for her? If she truly was a good journalist, then that leads me to suspect she was involved in a scandal that prevented her from ascending the ranks. Vivzie has stated that Killjoy sleeps with many men. On its own, that may seem like an insignificant detail. As a figure in the public eye with a reputation to protect, however, being branded as a slut could be career-ruining. And if a fellow journalist smelled blood in the water, you can bet they'd go in for the kill. This nicely circles back to the idea of praying mantises eating each other. What does this mean for her sin? Obviously, Katie is not the type of person to let herself be fucked with. I mean, did you see how she tolerated being called a bitch by Charlie?
Oops.
If she's willing to get that mad over something like that, you can bet your ass she'd do a lot worse to whoever sold her out. So I think she killed this mystery journalist. That leaves one question. How exactly did she die? I'm convinced her stone-cold persona is just a mask. Her smile and manner of speech come across as very fake, and keep in mind, she couldn't even handle the slightest bit of criticism from Charlie. I completely believe that Katie is secretly ultra-sensitive, and if that is the case, who's to say that she wouldn't kill herself over losing her career? This would be kind of dark, but it makes sense in a poetically ironic way. Now let's move on to Trenchy.
And I'd sure like to nail her hot spot.
Tom Trench is a bit of a harder nut to crack. According to Vivzie, he died during World War I, and that's virtually it. Though it's most likely safe to assume that he had some newscasting experience prior to dying, just like his co-anchor. I mean, just look at that slick hair. So, what position might he have been in? Excuse the terminology. Tom is extremely passive compared to Katie, and I personally don't think he has the heart for active journalism. As such, simply being a news presenter on the radio makes the most sense in my eyes. Radio specifically, seeing as TV wasn't a thing during that time period. Okay, obviously we have some huge hints that suggest he fought in the First World War. His name references Tommy, a slang term for a British soldier, and trench, a long ditch where the armies would shelter. And of course, his whole ass head is a gas mask. You might be thinking that the obvious answer here is that he was killed killed during battle, but I wouldn't be so sure. I think the circumstances of his death were a lot more specific, and even coincides with his sin. I don't think Tom was a good soldier. Originally hailing from a cushy radio host job, this man was certainly drafted into the British Army against his will. This, coupled with being a bit of a pushover, makes me think he may be lacking in skill. He's also apparently so unlucky that he spontaneously combusts. So here's what I think went down. With this gas mask, there's no way he didn't die at the hands of a gas attack. However, I don't think it was enemy fire. I think it was actually his own. And I think he took out his entire platoon with him. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility that Tom is so incompetent and unlucky that he accidentally started a fire somehow. Whether from spontaneously combusting like we saw in the pilot, or while attempting to light a cigarette, which was common in trenches. And I believe this fire triggered the gas bombs inside the trench, killing everybody. Not only would this be how he died, but it would also be his sin. Now you may be asking how that counts as a sin, but Hell of a Boss's 4th episode reveals a very strict rule about heaven. If you kill anybody, even accidentally, it counts as a sin. While Tom may not have done anything morally wrong, he did still commit a sin in the eyes of heaven. God is a bastard apparently.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
I think this makes a ton of sense when you take into consideration that Tom doesn't really present as a bad person, although who can say for sure. It was kind of intimidating to try and come up with theories for more obscure characters, but it was a ton of fun. I hope you enjoyed them, and I'd really appreciate it if you left a like if you did. Definitely subscribe if you want more awesome theories, and be sure to comment with yours down below. And again, if you want some perks and feel like giving me some extra support, my Patreon link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.